All right, let's jump right into this explainer because today we're completely flipping the script on how you should be looking at the current AI gold rush. Right now, everywhere you look, someone is telling you that to get rich, you need to learn to code or launch a tech startup or just pour your life savings into the stock market. But what if the absolute easiest way to profit from this massive artificial intelligence boom requires literally zero tech skills? Today, we're going to break down exactly how the smartest operators are making absolute fortunes quietly on the sidelines of the AI bubble. So I gotta start us off with a serious question. Look, most people right now are either scrambling to build some shiny new AI app, or they're just passively dumping their money into the stock market, hoping a handful of tech stocks will carry them to retirement. But are those actually the wrong games to be playing? Because if you want to build real, generational wealth, you might actually be looking in the absolute wrong places. Section 1. The AI Bubble Trap. To really get why those default strategies are actually super risky right now, we first need to look at the trap that's basically hiding in plain sight. Let's dig into why the two most common approaches to the AI boom are setting everyday investors up for failure. Check this out. A staggering 28% of the entire S&P 500 is controlled by just 10 tech giants. Think about that for a second. People are always told to buy index funds for diversification, right? But right now, your supposedly diversified index fund is actually just a highly concentrated bet on companies like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and Meta. When you buy the market today, you're heavily betting that these specific tech giants are going to flawlessly dominate for the next few decades. And if they stumble even a little bit, well, that is going to be a very bloody bet for your retirement. Now, what if you decide, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur instead? Well, if you try to build a Tier 5 AI application, one of those shiny new generative AI tools, you are competing in a space with zero real moat. The big tech companies have billions in cash sitting around. If your startup actually gets some traction, they're not even going to bother copying you. Big tech will literally just slide into your senior engineers' DMs and buy them away with $2 million compensation packages and unlimited LaCroix. It's crazy. But you face extreme key person risk here. Your engineers aren't just your employees, they are literally your entire business. Which brings us to Section 2, the picks and shovels. Since the top tier is a total trap and the public markets are giving us this illusion of safety, let's talk about where the real, kind of unsexy money is actually being made during this $400 billion AI infrastructure boom. It is time to talk about the picks and shovels. If you break down the AI landscape into these 6 tiers, you'll notice something pretty wild. The bottom foundational tiers, Tier 0 and 1, the ones dealing with energy, chips, and physical data centers, those are the absolute best places for everyday people to capture massive value. You do not want to compete at the top with OpenAI or Google up in Tier 3 or 4. No way. You want to service the physical footprint of the AI revolution. To put this whole thing into perspective, a massive $455 billion was spent on data centers last year alone. That is a 51% jump in just a single year. These massive, multi-billion-dollar facilities might live in the cloud, but they feed on very real electricity and physical space. And to keep running, they desperately need local, blue-collar support. So the takeaway here? You absolutely do not need to compete with OpenAI. You can be the scrappy operator servicing them behind the scenes. Look at companies like Promira or JM Tech Group. They are making absolute fortunes doing the boring physical work. A $10 billion semiconductor fab needs a perfectly clean environment, which means HEPA filters that clog up and need replacing constantly. The megacorporations do not want to send their $200 an hour software engineers to go change a dusty filter or inspect a disconnected cable. So you show up, you bring a specialized vacuum, you charge $150 an hour, and boom, suddenly you are a highly paid risk management consultant for the AI boom. Section 3, buying boring cash flow. Okay, so how do you actually get a piece of this action if you don't, already own a massive commercial cleaning or infrastructure company? Well, the secret is you don't have to start one from scratch. You just buy one. Look at the sheer scale of the private market compared to public stocks. Actually, since 1996, the number of publicly listed companies has literally halved. Meanwhile, there are roughly 25 million private businesses out there in the US. The real economic growth, like the true 10x and 100x runs, that stuff happens in the private markets way before a company ever goes public. If you're only investing in the S&P 500, you are only seeing a tiny, tiny fraction of the economy. And guys, this is where the massive opportunity lies today. We are looking at a historic logjam. With baby boomers retiring in droves and private equity firms totally desperate to sell off their portfolios because over 16,000 companies have been held for more than 4 years without a buyer, the window to buy a boring, cash-flowing business is wide open right now. You can buy the local plumbing shop, the commercial HVAC company, or the cleaning service that maintains these data centers, and you can often buy them from highly motivated sellers. Moving on to Section 4, expanding margins with AI. Once you step up and actually own one of these boring, recession-resistant businesses, let's look at how AI builds your profit margins without you needing to write a single line of code. This is where you actually use AI as a tool, not as your core product. Look, by just plugging basic, everyday AI tools into traditional service businesses, you instantly cut out the bloat, you eliminate unnecessary costs, and you radically expand your margins. You use ChatGPT to instantly write standard operating procedures that used to take managers weeks to draft. You set up agentic AI to pre-qualify your inbound leads or handle those repetitive initial customer service emails. You completely stop being the idea guy dreaming up new apps, and instead you become a workflow fixer. By stripping out all those wasted expenses, you're essentially giving yourself a massive invisible raise. Let's look at a real-world example here. There's this company called Temple & Webster, and they didn't invent some flashy new algorithm. No, they just took existing AI and layered it right over their customer support, their product descriptions, and their shipping calculations. By automating 80% of their customer interactions, they drove their operational costs down by an incredible 60%. That means they are keeping 60% more money in their pocket simply by acting as an operator who knows how to wield AI as a utility. All right, Section 5, stop speculating, start owning. We've seen the trap of public markets and tech startups, and we've seen the solution of buying and optimizing boring businesses. Now we need to quickly look at the psychology that keeps people from actually taking action on this. Basically, it's time to make a choice. You really have to stop being the speculator. The speculator is the person chasing every single shiny crypto trend or new AI chatbot, constantly jumping from one big thing to the next. And get this, studies actually show active traders underperform the broader market by almost 7% a year just because they lack commitment. Or maybe you're the hoarder, right? The person too scared to invest anything at all. You need to become the operator. The operator commits to boring, steady cash flow for the long haul and uses AI to quietly optimize it. So let's break down a super practical roadmap. If you want to become that operator, here's your exact playbook. First up, go browse off-market listings on sites like BizCoat just to see what's actually out there. Next, get offline. Drive around your city and look for transition signals. We're talking businesses with faded signage or absolutely no recent Google reviews. When you find one, run the math. A normal small business usually sells for about 2 to 3 times its annual profit. And finally, the best part, you don't even need all the cash up front. You can negotiate seller financing, where the retiring owner essentially acts as the bank, which lets you take over the business without draining your own savings account. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one powerful thought, which was perfectly summarized by an insight from Goldman Sachs. The real winners in the coming years won't be model makers, but scrappy operators. The massive tech giants are going to fight it out in this multi-billion-dollar bloodbath to see who can build the absolute smartest chatbot. You don't have to participate in that fight. You can just quietly clean their servers, service their physical infrastructure, and use their amazing AI tools to make your boring local business wildly profitable. So here's the question. Are you going to keep watching the AI gold rush from the sidelines, or are you going to step up, take control, and start selling the shovels?